What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Talking to Rick Show. I am your host, Showtime Harley, and guys, I am so sorry if I look or sound terrible because I'm getting over the flu. So we day 5 of the flu. We getting better, but we feel like we're on fire. But I'm super excited for today's guest. We got 2 more in 2020. We got today's and tomorrow's, and we're gonna kill them. They're gonna be bangers. But let's give a warm welcome to Justin.
How's it going, everybody? It's happy to be here. I'm happy this works because my browser said it wasn't working a second ago. I thought I broke something.
But at first it was like, I couldn't hear you, but it's fine. We got it to work.
Figuring it out.
So I always hop right into it with who or what got you into wrestling?
What got me into wrestling? When I was about, I want to say like 6 years old, I happened to walk into my parents' room. It's like the most cliche story ever. I walk into my parents' room and I look over at the TV, and there's just this blur of red hair just flying over the top rope.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I was hooked, and it happened to be Jeff Hardy.
Obviously.
And from that point on, I became like the biggest Jeff Hardy fan ever. I like dressed up as him for Halloween. Like I was like infatuated with wrestling.
No, I love that. I know my father is going to be typing in the chat really soon. He's a hardcore Jeff Hardy fan, so he's going to be like, yeah, Jeff Hardy
awesome.
fan.
Sick.
So who trains you or trained you?
I've trained in a bunch of different places right now. I started in IWF in New Jersey. They train in Nutley with Kevin Knight. I spent a week with Mike Hollow in New Hampshire with WFA or Elite Wrestling Academy. If I'm wrong about that accurate, like their exact name, I know it's like Elite Training Academy or Elite Pro Wrestling, something like that. They're awesome too. Then I switched over to ECPW with Gino, and currently personal stuff going on, so I've kind of been like out of practice just because life happens. But
Yeah.
I've recently switched over to Create a Pro, which is awesome.
All right. So like from your initial training start date, wherever it may be, wherever you started, how long would you say like you trained for before you got like in a legit match in front of the crowd or something?
I started training April of 2021, and my first show was November of that year, which was really cool. We because COVID restrictions had just been lifted, we did 2 shows back to back, so my first 2 matches were the same day.
Oh.
I was like, oh, this is cool. This is stressful.
I mean,
yeah.
You got your fair share. If one was terrible, you always got the other one.
Exactly. Thankfully, it was the same building, so it was just show, wait an hour, like half an hour, and then the next show. I was like, oh, cool.
It works.
Yeah, it worked out.
So, are you a heel or are you a face?
I prefer, if we're going this route, if we're talking insider stuff, sure. I prefer to be a heel because I feel more natural, if that makes sense. But behind the scenes, I'm like not a terrible person, so it's always funny that like in front of a crowd, I'm more comfortable being awful. I'm more comfortable just being a complete jerk because I guess I don't know what, like I'm still on like trying to be a good guy and people connecting with it. Like I don't get it yet, so I prefer to be a heel.
I say it all the time on here. I can usually tell like, okay, yeah, you're definitely a heel or you're definitely a face, but like you're like that in betweener. Like you could be a face, you could be heel, but you definitely give off like a lot more like the bad. Like
I get that. I've gotten that before. People are like, "What are you?" And I'm like,
whatever.
Yeah, I'm whatever.
I'm a little bit of both.
Yeah, I've told people just what do you want me to be?
Whatever you want.
What do you want?
Exactly. You want me to be a douchebag? I'll be a douchebag. You want me to be nice? I'll be nice.
Exactly.
All right. So what would you say is your favorite part about wrestling?
My favorite part about wrestling. Definitely the fan interaction. Like I remember when I was a little kid, how how insanely like invested I was in everything because I was like, whoa, these are like superheroes. So like now being and like, actually being a wrestler and like seeing kids just lose their mind over everything is probably my favorite part of it.
I love
Like,
it's so crazy to me because when I first got, like, social media and I had, like, wrestlers following me, I was like, "Oh my god, these superstars are following me back." I was like I thought it was such a big
like,
deal.
isn't it like the coolest thing ever? You're
I
like,
mean,
whoa,
'cause they kinda
yeah,
famous.
yeah.
Like,
You're like, whoa, this is like my life now.
yeah,
Like, this
no,
is awesome.
literally
Yeah,
since that moment, my mom's like, "Yep, now we're just stuck with wrestling." I was like, "Yeah."
yeah, yeah.
So for you, what would you say is, like, the hardest part about wrestling?
The hardest part about wrestling. Um, Seeing something from like a third person perspective is probably the hardest part for me. Like I know what I'm doing and I know the point I'm trying to get across, but actually getting it completely across for somebody to understand it is probably the hardest part for me. Like doing a thing and having people react the way I would want them to is so hard. It's so challenging.
No, really, because you could be out there doing your best, but they can see it a whole different, like, way,
Yeah.
and it could be like, "Well, that's not the way I thought it was."
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, shit." It happens.
Exactly, exactly. So my dad's in the chat chanting your name.
Yo,
We were
how's it
just talking
going?
about Jeff Hardy. It was that's his favorite wrestler.
Awesome.
That that's great.
Great minds think alike, man. Great.
So if you got an opportunity to be on, like, AEW or WWE, which one do you
Mhm.
think you would choose?
Um, that's a tough question because at Creative Pro, as you would know, with just a little bit of research, you'll know like the a lot of the guys that train there are on AEW television, like the people that have graduated from there. So that would be an amazing experience. Pat Buck owns the school. Like, you know what I mean? So AEW is definitely like right there. But like the childhood dream of wrestling into WWE is also right there. So I feel like right now I'm kind of 50-50.
Yeah.
I'd be stoked regardless. Like I think either one I'd be like, "Oh, whoa, this is nuts."
No, really, because I
Yeah,
mean, they kinda sharing stars right now, like, those that were on there are on there, and now they're back on
exactly.
WWE, so I mean, I guess it
Exactly. Like
doesn't really
people are
matter.
going to both all the time. So like
Yeah,
this
right.
I'm happy regardless. It's amazing. Like if I was offered an opportunity, I'd probably panic. I'd like, whoa, this is real. What's happening?
Be like, "Hold on, let me panic for a couple minutes, and then I'll give you an answer, and then go from
Yeah.
there." So, has there been a certain, like it could be, like, the venue or the company, but has there been, like, a certain spot that you wrestled in, and you're like, "I really like this place, and I'll wrestle here any opportunity I get."
Uh mm, Definitely Hoboken when Titan runs Hoboken. That the people that show up to Hoboken are so like nuts. That building is like I haven't seen it empty for a Titan show. Like they show up. But because I'm there all the time, at this point I think I'm there like every weekend. Ridgefield Park where like Pro Wrestling Magic does their shows and like ECPW does their shows. That building is also awesome and the fans that go there are super into everything. And so like probably more Ridgefield Park because I'm there all the time. I just love that building, and the owners of that building are cool people.
No, I love that. I'm, like, Pennsylvania based, so I always see all these, like, New Jersey shows. I'm like, "Oh my god, I have to get to them because 'cause they're, like, so big and the matches are, like, 10 times bigger than ones out here. Like, out here, we got a lot of, like, singles matches or tag matches, but there's, like, so many rumbles and so many different
It's
wrestlers out there. I was like, "God."
yeah, it's there's just so much. Like I'm yet to even be kept up on the amount of wrestlers in New Jersey alone. I'm like, whoa.
Really, I thought it was a small state, but there's too many wrestlers out there just for
Yeah. Like
it's
I meet a new person every time I go on a show. I'm like, I thought I'd met everybody.
no,
It's like, oh
really.
my god, there's a new person literally every week. I'm like, okay, nice
No,
to meet you.
I couldn't imagine remembering all their names. Be like, "You with
Hmm.
the hair, you
Hmm.
with that." Just like
Yup. The hey man, how's it going is like my go-to
yeah,
because I'm
and
like,
then
I
you don't
don't
have
want
no, and then you don't have to remember names to be like, "Oh my god, how are you?" I'm like, "What's your"
to. Yeah, it's like, hey man.
No, I have that all the time. Whenever I go to shows, they'll be like, "Oh my god, how are you?" And I look at, like, my dad, be like, "Do I know them? But we'll just still just have a conversation, like,
Like, "Dad, do I know that guy?" I think so." He's, like, just as lost as you are, like, "I think so."
just go with
Yeah,
it.
just go with it. He doesn't know, don't worry about it. "Oh, okay."
He won't know unless you tell him.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about, like, hardcore death style wrestling?
Okay. All the way up until I started training, I thought it was the craziest thing in the universe, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." Certain stuff I can't watch, like, the second they bust out the, like, knives, I'm like, "Okay, I gotta stop. This is a little too much for me." I get a little queasy. But once I started training, I was like, "Oh god, this is terrifying." So now I have a hard time watching it without, like, trying to, without imagining myself having to do whatever the move is, and I'm like, "Ah, no. Nope." The panic sets in so fast. Like, "Oh, no, this is dangerous as hell." I commend the guys that do it because they have, like, this insane threshold for pain. I don't know how they don't just say no to a majority of the things that they do, but it's
Literally.
not necessarily for me. That shit is scary.
No, literally, there's a wrestler, I think he wrestles out in the Jersey area as well, but his name is Tarzan Duran.
I love Tarzan.
Oh,
He's out of his mind.
he's crazy. I'm not even kidding, I had an interaction with him where I followed him for a while, and then one morning, I'm getting ready for school, and I just opened Instagram, and it was just him cutting someone's arm or his arm getting cut. I was like, "Bro,
Oh,
I
he's
gotta take you off. I love you, but you gotta go
like, I
this."
can't look at this.
Yeah,
I I don't know if you've seen him recently, but like, the bunch of fucking, like, scars he has on his back?
oh my god.
I saw him just before he got all those scars and then just after. That was, like, perfect timing. I saw him, like rolled around in the ring, like, did some, like, a quick, like, training session or whatever it was before a
Yeah,
show, and then maybe 2 months later, I saw him again, and I had seen a clip on Instagram, saw him in person. I was like, "Your back is now covered in scars. Now I know where you got it from." I was like, "Wow, it has been 2 months.
no,
What happened?"
no, really, but I give it to him because he be doing some really crazy, crazy stuff,
Yeah,
but I
he's out
couldn't
of
do
his
it.
mind.
No,
And
absolutely
yeah, he's a guy that's like everything I see him do, he just does it to such an insane degree. Like he does all the springboards and the flips and the crazy holds and moves, and then he's doing deathmatch stuff. I'm like, you do everything. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you that you have this like innate ability to just do whatever.
no, absolutely, but, like, you can have that spotlight. I'm not gonna steal that ever from you, so go
If
ahead.
if it's the death matches, he can go right ahead, go nuts.
Yeah, right, just go
Go
for
nuts. Have a field day, man.
it,
That's
right?
all you, man.
So, how do you feel about, like, intergender, the male versus female wrestling?
I think it's dope. I think when it's done right, it's the coolest thing on the show. Like if you do it right, like it's a great match, the crowd's into it and it's awesome. If it's done wrong, it ends up kind of like what are you doing? I think. Like I think if people sometimes will have an intergender match and they'll try to put it together like it's back in like 2004. And
Yeah.
it's like, big strong guy, small feeble woman, now the match sucks. Like, that's boring. But when there's like an actual like competition and it's like genuinely a match, I'm like this is actually really good. It like breaks down the barrier and it makes both people credible. It's a good time.
No, yeah, yeah, I think it has to make sense. Like you said, it can't be like this big, strong man versus this tiny female because
Yeah.
obviously we know how it's gonna end.
Yeah, like and some people will structure their match that way and I'm like, dude, have a match. Like, what are you doing?
No,
I'm
literally,
like,
I say
oh.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, one of my favorite intergender matches because I've watched it like 4 times now. I can't recall the year. It could be a couple years ago. It could be last year. It's like I think it's Alex Shelley against Ruby Soho, and that match is phenomenal. It's a competition the entire way through, and it's great.
No, I love intergender matches, but it's gotta make sense because we have a company out here in Pennsylvania called AXW, and we
Okay.
only have 1 female on our roster,
Oh.
and her name is Izzy McCoy. So she's
Mhm.
always facing all these men, and then sometimes it's like, "Come on, what are you doing? That's not gonna work." but somehow she wins, so I give it to
Yeah,
her.
good.
But
Hell yeah.
I'm like,
That's inspirational. Some little girl in the crowd's probably like, this is the coolest shit in the world. I could beat up a bunch of people, and that's there you go. That's the whole point.
yeah, and then cries, and then it's like I don't get the same reaction. But
True, but like it's inspiring to a young kid
yeah,
in the crowd to be like, I what
I can do that.
if she could do it, I'm gonna go do it. And that's the whole point of wrestling. Like
Exactly.
honestly.
It'll work.
Yeah.
So now, if you could wrestle anywhere in the world, where would you want to wrestle?
Okay. Anywhere in the world.
Uh-huh.
I genuinely want to branch out of New York, New Jersey, and PA, like really bad. I want to go to like Texas, Florida, like
Uh-huh.
California, like see all like the big spots, like Chicago and like all the big spots in America. But if we're talking like international, uh, Japan. It's got to be Japan. Yeah.
Alright.
Japan like the biggest like amazing thing in my head internationally would be like Wembley in London or Tokyo Dome in Japan.
Obviously.
Like those are like the oh my god. So
Yeah.
like yeah, either Europe in general or the UK specifically or Japan.
Now, so like if you had that opportunity, what would be going through your mind on like show day?
Ah,
What would
show
you
day. Dude, the nerves would be crazy. I already know it. Like the nerves would be nuts. I'd be in the back just like doing push-ups and like really making sure I'm like, okay, it's a different crowd. No, but this is you don't even live here.
be like
Like
be like, "Pinch me first. Am I
yeah,
dreaming? Pinch
yeah. Am
me."
I dreaming? How did I get here? Japan bajillion hour flight? What am I doing?
A bajillion hour flight, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the exact amount of hours, but it's like a half a day in a plane or more.
That's not that long, but it's okay.
Yeah, I could have sworn someone said it was like a 13-hour flight or something because it's a far flight.
I mean, obviously. I mean, I like
Yeah.
flying. Flying's fun, but I don't know if I could be on a plane for that long.
No, I would if I don't fall asleep for that flight, it's awful. That would be so bad. But yeah, like the whole like my pre-match like ritual or pre like going through the curtain ritual is usually like just psych myself up, do some push-ups, like just kind of get in the zone, and then music hits, we're going.
Alright,
So
and that was
yeah.
actually gonna be my next question. Do you have, like, a specific warm up? But you just
No, yeah, it's usually like some push-ups, maybe like jog in place for a second, like nothing too crazy. I don't do the old school 10,000 Hindu squats that people would do, or like Randy Orton said on a podcast or something once that he like used to like give himself a headache, like he would like clench his teeth really hard and like give him like make his face really red and then go out. I'm like, you're insane. Good for you. Happy for you. Yeah, I'm like, okay. But no, nothing too weird.
Okay, okay. So, now speaking on an indies level, if you
Mhm.
could face anyone, who would you wanna face?
On an indies level, which makes sense. If I could face literally anybody, if I could just pick someone, there's a lot of people. Like there's people I train with that I would happily pick. Um, okay. I'm gonna for the sake of narrowing it down for myself, because there's so many names, like I could obviously say like I could say any person who's like top guy in the indies right now. Like I can just like Alec Price. You know what I mean? Like someone who's already holding a championship. Like Brian Keith, I could say him. But like I'll narrow it down to like places I'm at just so because it's possible. Because it's possible in the future, like within a year, it could happen. Alex Ryman is definitely one of them. ECPW's Alex Ryman. He's currently the world champion, or I think that's the correct terminology in Pro Wrestling Magic. There's obviously I train a creator pro. There's Leo Sparrow. There's Bobby Orlando. There's there's Bryce. There's so many people at Creative Pro that I would have to just list the entire roster. That entire roster, 100%. Some people I would be more than happy to wrestle.
Oh,
Um, ECPW's got a people I haven't. ECPW has a few people I haven't wrestled yet. Alex Ryman is one of them. Um, if I can, both of the Silk City Kings, Kenny and Pittman. They're both awesome, and I would be again stoked to wrestle either of them. Um, who am I leaving? I'm definitely leaving people out. The questions about like naming wrestlers off the top of my head, I always leave out like 17 people. But like
Oh.
it would be guys like that because it would be like it'd be a good like limit test for like because it's places I'm currently training at or have trained at. It'd be
Mhm.
good to like test myself against like the best people at those places.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you brought up Leo Sparrow. Next time you see him, call him the vegan slut and see what he says.
I
So,
don't want get me in trouble.
no, so he actually wrestles for the company out here, AXW, and
Mhm.
and my one friend at the time, we ended up calling him the vegan slut, and that's just his nickname now every time we
Oh, okay.
so every time someone calls him there, he's like, "Harley told you to say that, right?" And he's like,
Yeah. That, yeah. Got
"Obviously."
it. Got it. So I won't. So so if I'm at a practice and I call him that, he might make me do like 1,000 burpees, but that's okay. You're like, what? Like, oh, sorry.
We'll see.
Yeah, oops.
So, yeah, he still has yet to do the podcast, so calling him that makes it even better.
Makes sense.
Okay, though. So, have you had any, like, crazy injuries yet in the industry or no, not
Nothing crazy. That show I told you about, my first show that was also my second show, that two matches in one
yeah,
day. On the second match, I was wrestling somebody. We were both relatively new, and what happens when two people who are both relatively new as hell are wrestling each other? There's not a veteran in there to make sure things are perfect. Like things
yeah.
go decently. There's no one to really meld things. So he had made a mistake. I had made a mistake, and my ribs were bruised.
Oh, I mean,
So like, and I hadn't been like injured doing any like physical competition probably at all before that. So that was the only real like wrestling injury I've had was like bruised my rib, sucked to breathe for a couple months, whatever.
it
Over
worse.
Yeah, it could be way worse. I haven't had any like crazy injury, but over the summer I hurt myself at the gym and developed weird sciatica and I couldn't wrestle for like 3 months
Oh,
cuz
that
picking
sucks.
anything up sucked. I was like that sucked, but in
Mm,
wrestling I've been very like lucky. I've been very very blessed in terms of not being hurt, knock on wood. But
I know every time I ask that, I'll be like, "Oh my god, now if they get injured, I'm gonna feel so bad because it's, like, jinxing them."
I'll make sure to tell you if I get injured. Hey, you told me you
It's your
asked, I said it didn't happen. Now I'm injured.
it's your fault.
Yeah, I'll blame you. No, I'm kidding. I
Yeah,
wouldn't do
I'll
that.
take it.
It's so mean. No.
So, do you think it's gonna be, like, an age thing, a mindset thing, or, like, an injury thing that causes you to retire?
Ooh, that's crazy. I've been wrestling for like 2 years. I don't even like retirement. That's a
Yes,
great
but
yeah, technically it's been like 2 years and a month since I like was in front of people. So like that's a ooh age thing, a mindset or knowing me because I don't know when to stop. It would probably it probably won't be a mindset thing because I could hate it with every fiber of my being, and I'd probably still do it because I love wrestling. Like it won't it's I'm not just gonna up and quit. So I would say age, but at this point, I feel like I'm dumb enough to pull a Ric Flair and wrestle barely able to move.
oh my god.
Like, at this point, I think that, but maybe in, like, 30 years, I will be the exact opposite, so it's probably either age or, like, injury. More than likely injury.
Let's hope it's not an injury on my time.
Yeah, right? Now you say you asked me 2 in a row, that completely
Well,
jinxed me. I have shows
now I'm
coming up, I'm gonna,
feeling
I'm gonna, like, sprain my ankle, I'm like, "Damn it."
that girl, she was a
Like,
jinx.
"Harley, what the hell?"
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. No.
So, do you have merch? And if so, where can people purchase it at?
I do have merch. I'm not wearing it right now because I had to do a load of laundry, so it's being cleaned. And whatever's left of it is in my gear bag in my car. prowrestlingtees.com/Justin Bongiovi. Literally exactly like you see my name on screen, just no space.
Uh-huh.
I think it's up. I'm actually gonna double check because I have to see if this got put up because they do like a waiting period.
Oh,
They do like a waiting period when you upload a logo and like a shirt.
yeah. Interesting.
So if I'm right, my new shirt is up. There we go. My new shirt is up, which I have yet to show off to anybody. But yeah, I have a new shirt on my Pro Wrestling Tees shop. Is like currently it's probably like the best one on there. It's
Okay.
a dope logo. It's pretty cool. I don't have anything to show it right now, but it's dope. If you go see it, I would think that you would think it's dope. But yeah,
Huh.
I've got a couple shirts on there. I've got one with my old logo, which is like a face with a beard on it, which is
Uh-huh.
simple, and then I've got the new one. But yeah, wrestlingtees.com/Justin Bongiovi.
All right. So now, if a younger fan came up to you at a show and was like, I want to do exactly what you're doing, what advice would you give them?
Um, I would tell them that I've actually had to give this advice before, so I'm trying to recall it, which is actually funny. I've had like someone actually said that like I want to be a wrestler, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it says something along the lines of, "Do it. Be mentally prepared for what could possibly happen because it's very hard. It's very painful. It hurts, but if it's something you love and wrestling is something you genuinely want to do, 100% do not let anyone tell you not to. Like go for it because when I was growing up, I was consistently told not to. And then I'm in this and I love this so much and I can't stand that I waited as long as I did to start training because I wasn't sure because people kept telling me not to.
Damn.
So 100% if this is your dream, chase it as hard as you possibly can. Like I've said that before and I will always say that.
Absolutely. Father says, what's your happiest moment you've shared in the ring?
Ooh. Okay. Happiest moment? Probably when yeah, that would be it. Yeah. Probably well about like what was it, like 5 months ago. It was like May. Yeah, when I won the tag championships in IWA, I just felt really fulfilled. Like I was like, "Oh, like they actually like this is something. Like I've earned something, if that makes sense. Like I've believed in enough that I've earned something. Something that might be a little bit happier might be this year I wrestled twice in like hometown area and just the reception was amazing and I felt like, "Oh, I'm home." It was really welcoming. I was like, "Oh, this is really sweet." Like it melted my heart a bit.
No, I love that. I
Yeah.
mean, hometowns are usually the best because then everyone you know gets to come out and be like,
Yeah. I
look
was
at
just like, "Oh, my people are here." Like that was just heartwarming. I was like, "Oh, people actually got to like see me wrestle." Because a lot of my shows are 3 hours away from where I live, or
yeah,
2 hours away, or they're in like an area where people don't want to pay a toll because it's far. And I'm like, I get that. So when
yeah.
shows are close by, it's just so heartwarming to see like a whole bunch of people I know or don't know that like recognize me from being in the area. Just the coolest thing. I'm like, this is sweet.
No, absolutely. So, if people wanted to find you on social media, where can they find you at?
You could find me at Justin Bon Jovi on Twitter, or X, whatever, and Justin dot Bon Jovi on Instagram. Someone has it without the dot, and I'm sad. Facebook, you could just search Justin Bon Jovi. Uh, YouTube, same thing. I have been streaming occasionally on Twitch. I'm trying to get back into it because it's something I used to
Uh,
do that I like. It's the Twitch is Justin's TV, just no I. JUSTNS TV.
all
A little
right.
different.
It,
But that should be everything. Yeah. I have a TikTok, but I have no posts on it. So once I start posting on that, I'll start telling people to look at it. Just so it's not like, hey, go look at my TikTok and it's blank.
There's
It's
nothing.
like, why'd you send me here? Oh yeah, my bad.
And so for upcoming shows, then where can they find you at?
Um, the 5th of January, I will be in Ridgefield Park for ECPW's TV tapings. On the 13th of January, I'll be at Monsoon for Titan. Uh, my match hasn't been announced yet, so I'm not going to get myself in trouble because I almost did. I will be at Titan for Monsoon January 13th, and I'll be at IWA on January 27th in a 6-man tag, which is right behind in a 6-man tag in Nutley, New Jersey. Um yeah, Titan's show is in Tom's River, ECPW's is in Ridgefield Park, and IWA's is in Nutley. So
All right.
that's the 5th, 13th, and 27th of January.
Okay, okay, guys. So
Hmm.
please, please, please go give him a follow. I'm sorry, I feel like crap, but we did it. We made it. Guys, I will be back tomorrow night with another episode. So hopefully I'm a little better tomorrow. I know I look like Rudolph because my face is awful, but it's okay. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye, guys.